Hello, welcome back to the channel. I've not made any content in this manner for a while. I've been doing a lot of gameplay videos and stuff like that, and streaming, and I'll do a lot of PvP stuff, and I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 a lot. But I digress, because I'm going to get back into this kind of content and do some other things in my channel, because I am now entertainment gaming granddad. Granddad. An exceptionally handsome, young looking granddad at that. But yes, what this video is about today is the gaming industry and the price hikes, and I'm just gonna go over some sort of Nintendo and PlayStation, because they're both raising prices on gaming and consoles and such. And I also want to cover some of the fan base and how they're defending such things. So before we get into this, I'm gonna show my respect to the Japanese, the companies that are being greedy. I'm gonna pour myself some sake, because I'm going to need this to get me through that. Quite a lot, not too sure. I'm going to need this to get me through some of the shit we're about to see. I'll be ready for this. Let's go. So first, we're going to start with Nintendo, and we're going to just cover the new Switch prices and the damage control that this particular person's going to come out with. Some of the stuff I've taken from Ono, Alex, his content, 'cause he's got the videos. It saves me dredging through loads and loads of shit. Much easier if I just go to his channel. Go and check him out. He's new to the scene. Ono as Alex. No, seriously. Check him out. So I'm going to borrow some of the clips from his stuff, but I've also got some of my own stuff to add to it, which is going to be quite interesting when we get into that. That's from Mooch's channel. But anyway, let's first cover Nintendo. So before we get into this, I'd like to say two things. One, sake's absolutely awful. Yeah, I'm going to finish it, but it's awful. I don't know why I bought that. I don't know why I bought that. It's awful. And secondly, my mic. I'm fully aware that my mic's crap. I need to get a new mic. It's very old. And yes, so please get me to 1,000 subs, and let's see if I can get a decent mic that works and doesn't pick up this kind of crap. And yes, I've tried to alter it and stuff like that. I think it's just this mic is dated and old. Anyway, let's get into this. The Switch 2 is raising, I shouldn't say it's raising its prices. The Switch 2 actual console that's coming out is actually going to be a good affordable price. I think it's $450, which is a fairly good price actually. No problem with that whatsoever. I don't think anyone's got issue with that as far as I'm aware. However, the issue comes with some of the little things they've sort of snuck in there and thrown in there. And I'm just going to go through just a few of them. Firstly, the Switch 2 doesn't come without major flaws. Exactly. So let's just go through some of the issues and the concerns with the Switch 2. Now, reduced battery life. While Switch is a massive upgrade performance-wise over its predecessor, it's a downgrade in one aspect. It's been confirmed by Nintendo that Switch 2 battery life won't be as good as what players saw in the original Switch. So it's going to have a shorter battery life than the Switch 1. So I think when you're considering, especially a mobile device, I think the battery life is fairly important. Considering the competition now, we're going to have we've got the Steam Deck, we've got the Asus, but we've also got the Xbox Portable that will be coming out, and possibly a PlayStation Portable as well. So the Switch 2 sort of dropping the ball on a shorter battery life, which I think should be essential for a portable. Lose something else. Lose the 4K. I'm not sure if it has 4K, to be honest. But lose something else. Not the battery life. Extend the battery life. It's a must. I don't know why that is a feature of trying to sell a portable device. So here we go. According to Nintendo, the console's battery life can last around 2 to 6.5 hours, depending on the game that's being played. Or less demanding games won't drain the battery life. So what's bigger titles such as Cyberpunk 2077 will quickly deplete the battery. So for example, I guess you can only play Cyberpunk for 2 hours and then put it down. So it must be a graphic thing, I assume, and sort of a memory thing. I don't know. Does that seem their own games won't pressure the battery too much? Time will tell. So, shitty battery. Expensive games. It's not just the Switch 2. Right? This is the real problem now, isn't it? the games are going to be more expensive. They're going to be £80 now. And the problem here is they're doing it case by case in their games. So it's the games that are going to be bigger and sort of more sort of, I don't know, AAA games, I guess, in their term, are going to cost more than lesser games, which is sort of a thing at the moment. But 80, I think I've even seen the $90 in some cases. I mean, we've all seen Switch games. We've all seen Mario, what it looks like. And you're paying 80 for this? I don't know how that's comparable now when you look at games on PlayStation and Xbox, when you look at sort of the detail of those games. I know some people can say it shouldn't be about all that, but a lot more development goes into these games. This is my understanding. A lot more development is going into them games than will be going to Switch games to make Mario, for example, when it's just Mario Kart, for example. How much development budget must go into that game that warrants raising the game price to $80? I can't see it. I don't know why. I just can't. I don't know. I don't understand. And the price will even be higher prices for physical edition games. Yes, that's so. Yeah, I think that's $80 for digital and $90 for physical. Absolute craziness. Now, there's another few key points on that. I think one of the things is even the physical games will still have a key code, and you still need to access some of the games by subscribing to Nintendo, which takes me on to the other point here. It's the controller itself, the controller itself. C button functionality. One of the biggest mysteries surrounding Switch 2 before the reveal on April 2nd was its C button functionality. Now it's confirmed that the C button is all about game chat. So it's got a button devoted to game chat. The button will allow you to talk to your friends in handheld or docked mode. I don't know why you need a button then. Thanks to a built-in microphone. Well done. However, there's a catch here. Players will require... I don't know why they always put the built-in microphones on these controllers. PlayStation done the same. I just don't get it. Everyone has a microphone now, a headset or a microphone. I don't know why you have to have a built-in microphone. However, there's a catch here. Players will require Nintendo Switch online subscription to use the chat feature. So you have to pay for chat feature. So that being said, basically, I'm going to just breeze it. Game chat will be usable with membership until end of March 2026. But after that, the C button won't have any functionality if you don't pay for the service. So if you're not paying for the service, there won't be game chat, and this button on the controller will have no point to it, no meaning. And that's the other point I was going to say about the games. I believe in the digital you have to be online, which then you have to pay for, because now Switch is now going to be charging you to be online. So there's just a whole bunch of costs being thrown into this new Switch thing, which is really putting a lot of people off. However, one person is not putting off so much. Actually, one person. I shouldn't just say that. This person is not putting off so much. And this is what I picked up on Oh No Alex's video. And I was really intrigued by his sort of the narrative he was trying to push, which is inflation. We've heard this inflation thing before. We heard it from the PlayStation fan base when PlayStation started putting up game prices. They was blaming inflation. And this guy does it. And I like the way he does it. It's quite inventive. So we're going to look into that now. So let's first look into what he has to say about it.
In the year 2020, the PlayStation 5 dropped, and the PlayStation 5 introduced the $70 video game. Demon Souls was $70. Look at how much that is in 2025. Demon Souls was an $86 video game. I know nobody cares about inflation. I know they say dollars are dollars. They're not. Inflation is really real. Inflation is factual. Inflation is undeniable. Demon Souls cost $6.30 more than Mario Kart. Should Mario Kart be 70? Sure, I don't know. Whatever. They decided the price. There's tariffs. There's global economy. There's Nintendo. Whatever reason you want to believe. I don't even care anymore. I'm instead going to look straight at this. Demon Souls was $86.30. Okay? They charged their budget game was Miles Morales. Do you know how much Miles Morales was? Miles Morales was a $60 game. All right? That was a $60 game. Do you know how much the PlayStation 5 was? The PlayStation 5 was $500. In 2025, it's a $616 system. You know how much the Switch costs in 2025? $450.
There we have it. This guy is blaming inflation. The good old inflation excuse why you're just going to pay companies what you pay. I never understand this whole concept of, well, inflation, stuff that's just paying what they ask for. There is no this is why there is competition in the world. There is no reason to pay a company whatever they demand. This is why there's a thing called just shopping around. That's actually a term, shopping around. Because generally in life, you see something somewhere, you go to another shop, you look to see if you can get it cheaper. That's the standard. But I don't get why gamers are under some perception that they have to pay whatever this company's paying them. They're charging them. They have to just pay it. Because inflation. Anyway, I found this guy's inflation calculator, and I was just going to thought, let's just have a look into this a little bit further. So let's just take into his whole, it's inflation. Just pay them what they want. It's inflation. So what I thought I'd do is I'd find out how much a cheeseburger in America costs. I'm going by American because I'm from the UK, obviously, hence my sexy voice. I wanted to do a likewise comparison, like for like comparison. So I'd use a cheeseburger in America. So a cheeseburger in America is £2.49. Let's put £2.49 into this. Zing, and calculate. So right now, you're paying £2.49 for a cheeseburger, when you should be paying £3.8p. So I'm going to go by this guy's logic. Is he then now looking at his little inflation calculator, which I wonder if he carries around with him, when he walks into McDonald's next, asks for a cheeseburger, I say $2.49, will he go, oh no, inflation, here's $3.08. Here we go, good man, here we go, good company. Well done, McDonald's, you keep up the good work. Here's some more money than what you actually need. So you can do these all day. It's great. So I thought I'd look up a can of Coke in America. So it's a 12-ounce can, £2.10. Let's just go with target cost, £2.10 that you randomly pay for. You should be paying £2.59. So next time you buy a can of Coke in the States, give them more money. Just give it to them because of inflation. Because why not? Inflation. This is the. It just irks me so much. If you went to buy a car, you actually can see the example in the next video. When you buy a car and you go to a car salesman, he says, right, this is the price of this car, yada yada. He gives you a price you're not happy with. You generally just go elsewhere. You go, not happy with. You don't go, oh really? Okay, yeah. Well, maybe you do. I really suggest you shouldn't. Or even, here's the thing, barter, because bartering's a thing as well in the world. You can actually barter with many people. I don't think it's so big in the UK so much, or in the States, but you're Europe, you're allowed to barter with stuff. So I don't know why people are just accepting of this kind of thing. And it's just crazy. You don't do it in everyday life. As I said, you won't go into McDonald's and say, inflation, here's some more money. And when the prices do go up, people question it. Why are we paying? And people stop going there. That's generally what happens. But the other thing about inflation, which, it's the excuse that, it's just inflation excuse, really irks me, when it should have been an excuse. And here is why. So recently, there was a business thing done on inflation and why there is inflation and why things go up and down. It's to do with profits. So the key thing to look at are the red slices of the bar. Sky was looking at this. Red slices of the bar that show you how much the rise in price in the past few years can be attributed to profits. And it's pretty clear that profits have been a considerable chunk of the recent increase in prices. See, what happens? The profit goes up, price goes up. Indeed, in the most recent couple of quarters of data from late 2022, profits accounted for more of the rise in prices than wages. Green slices. Now, some would argue that it isn't necessarily profiteering, it's simply business doing what they always do when there's lots of demand for goods and raising their prices. Without the response, the market, as we know, it simply wouldn't function. Nonetheless, some say underlines that a good chunk of the price squeeze is due to the greed of a business. That's it in a nutshell. No excuses. What's happening here is profits are going up, not because of inflation, but companies want to charge more, so they make more profit. Have you noticed, like, when they talk about Nintendo, talks about, like, when the people talk about inflation, Nintendo talk about profits all the time, PlayStation talks about their profits all the time. But where are these profits actually going? All you hear from businesses, oh, we're making this much more profit, and every year from every business, they quote how much more profit, more profit, more profit. But where is the consumer seeing the sort of the benefit of these profits? Where as a consumer are you seeing the benefit from the profits Nintendo is making on their console? Because I've just highlighted some of the cons of the Nintendo Switch 2. Where are you seeing the profits they're making? Where's that going back to you? As a consumer, that's what you should be questioning. You're making this much money. What am I gaining from it? Prices going up. Oh, but it's inflation. Inflation's created by the company, so they can create more profits. PlayStation, we continuously hear about them talking profits. We hear the PlayStation fan base saying, oh, they make this much profit, but their game prices are going up as well. Their console prices are going up. The subscription prices are going up. Everything's going up. What are you seeing as a consumer from that profit PlayStation's charging? We're seeing less first-party games. We're seeing them close studios. We're seeing cancelling games. As a consumer, what are you getting? Let's get on to PlayStation now, shall we? Now this is what PlayStation's on. I find kind of sinister. So PlayStation has a survey asking what you think of Nintendo Switch 2. So after the prices come out, there's Nintendo Switch 2 and its games, PlayStation thought to do a survey asking its fans what they think. Now, why do you think they was asking their fans what they think? A cynical man would think they're trying to gauge if they can hike the prices of their console and their games. A cynical man would think that, wouldn't he? However, let's rewind a little bit, shall we, to 2020. Prior to the PlayStation 5 releasing, PlayStation did come out and say they were looking to raise the prices of games beyond 70. Bloomberg looked into this and questioned them some more. Jim Ryan fired back and said, "Oh, no, we weren't thinking of that. We wasn't going to do that. That's categorically false. However, we ain't going to rule out that we will raise them in the future." So I think there's a bit of a whitewashing now. I think he he clearly sort of just trying to raise over. No, we weren't going to raise prices. Honest, but we may do in the future. You're most definitely going to do it in the future. I think this is what they're trying to gauge again now, because there was backlash over them doing it at the beginning of the generation. I mean, they did raise them to 70, but there was actually going to raise them to 80 and 90, which Nintendo are doing. So I think there most definitely, when the PlayStation 6, if not before the end of the generation, when the PlayStation 6 drops, I can guarantee we will see £80 and $90 PlayStation games. But let's just end it there. Let's actually go into sort of the now. The Last of Us. The Last of Us has been released on PlayStation 5 again, with a new physical collector's edition coming in July. Yes, they are releasing The Last of Us again. So I'm just, this is going to be tough. I've got to try to keep track of these. So we had The Last of Us in 2013, the PlayStation 3. Then it released the remastered version for the PlayStation 4. Then I believe we had it remade or remastered again for the PlayStation 5. And then they're going to release it again. So I think there's been 4 versions of the same game within 10 years, or, within 10 years, I think. Might be just over. Why? Well, they did recently say, Sony did recently come out and say that it is cheaper to remaster games than to make them. Which, once again, questions, what are you doing with our profits, Sony? Why are you raising the price of stuff? What are you doing with our profits if you're not making new IPs, new games? Why are you reselling old games, just remastering old games and selling them back to us? More so, why are we buying them? Why are you buying them? It doesn't end there. Because unfortunately, PlayStation is also going to raise the prices of its consoles. Yes, it's going to increase the sales of its 5-year-old console again. The price of its 5-year-old console again. It's going to be selling in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. Yeah, you're going to pay more for the console, a 5-year-old console. Now, and they're charging more for the digital version, I believe. I think the price hikes are more on the digital version. Now, see, once again, a cynical man believe the PlayStation 5 Pro isn't selling very well. So they're raising the price of the lesser system to push people towards a PlayStation 5 Pro. That's what a cynical man would think. I mean, you can come to your own conclusions, but why would you raise the price of an old console to sort of compete with the price of the new console, which has just come out last year, which is not like 6 months old. Why would you not why would you bring those prices together? Yeah, I'm going to question their motives. They're clearly just trying to push people towards PlayStation 5. People are still buying PlayStation 4s, PlayStation 5s. I think people put off by the price of the PlayStation 5 Pro, and I think this push and price hike would, when you walk into a shop and you're going to see a brand new console, 5-year-old console, prices are just getting smaller and smaller. You're going to think, oh, I'm going to buy the Pro. That, that would sound like business to me. Clever business, possibly. Greedy business, most definitely. But sadly, I think the worst thing of all this is the PlayStation fan base defending price hikes. Having attacked Nintendo fans for defending the price hikes of Nintendo and the raising prices of cost of games and such like that, they're actually defending the price hikes of PlayStation again. They're not using inflation this time, because that's what the Nintendo fans are doing. They can't be seen to be agreeing with them. Instead, they're just saying, well, we like paying more for games. Yep, you just like paying more for games. Why wouldn't we pay more for games? So once again, I've gone to Owner and Alex and got some of Mooch's stuff here. So let's have a look at this. This is just horrible to listen to be honest. Let's have a quick listen to this. Here we go. I'm just going to shove myself over Mooch's gameplay of Call of Duty. Rest assured, you're not missing anything. He dies a lot in Call of Duty. It's quite shocking actually. Just I don't know why you'd even post that gameplay. It's just him dying a lot. You think you just keep playing the game till you get good at it, or post something sort of half decent to watch, but it's just him running and dying. So here I am. Look, I'm amongst the panel. Hey guys, hey! I wish I could be part of this, but they won't let me. So let's listen to some real shilling here.
He says if Spider-Man 3 costs $100, I'm still buying it. Facts. So shout out to Silent Merc. He doesn't care. He wants to, I'm definitely not putting that on you, Persona, but like you were saying earlier, you were saying you don't mind to purchase a game that you love and adore to play, and I'm right there with you.
Why? I think most people will. I think most people are willing to pay the money. Like Sean Layden when he left was correct. Like he said, something has to budge, either the size and the budgets or the prices. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be the prices, and I'm telling you what, I'm not going to stop gaming for a $10 increase. I'm a bitch about it, but none of us are going to stop gaming, and they know that. So it's what it's going to be. In my opinion, it's going to be the prices.
Most people won't stop gaming if there's another increase. Like a lot of that stuff that you see on Twitter it's exclusive to Twitter, because in the real world, the numbers don't lie. Because when you're looking at all these financial reports and best-selling games of every week and all this other stuff, people are still buying. Consumers are buying games like they are.
I would gladly pay $100 for a game. I go to a fucking movie theater. I spend $80 to watch a 2-hour film.
1 minute. Sucky. Oh, they just been doing a load of sucky, haven't they? Oh my god, he's awful. It just looks like water, but sort of it looks like water. If I don't know, if you backwashed it and just made it out of pure alcohol. I needed that though, because I just need to be woken up. That is, they're just talking absolute shit. They are talking absolute shit. I mean, the Persona tries to sort of argue that people will buy it, game price, either budgets or the cost is going to go up. They're both going to go up. Why wouldn't they? But why do they have to? Why does the budget have to go? Why do these games have to be more and more sort of action, adventure, over-the-shoulder movie kind of thing? I mean, let's just look at Hellblade 2, for example. Right, Xbox just released that. Just a year ago. Looked fantastic. Physically, they put a lot of detail into it. It's one of the best looking games so far this generation. Easily better than anything PlayStation's put out. Right? They've only made it about 6 hours long. And guess what they did? They charged less for it. I believe it's $50. Not 70, not 60, $50. Because they thought, great looking game. Lots of development time, detail went into it, a lot of it. But because it's shorter, we'll charge less. We're just not gonna, we're not gonna charge like out your arse for it. And right, so plus it's on Game Pass, so you play it for $20 if you like. You just want to play that game, get Game Pass for a month. Play it. Get rid of Game Pass. Got the game. You got it for $20. There we go. How about that? Options. See, you got 2 options there. Get it 50. Get it for 20. Game Pass. Hero. If you like all the games on Game Pass, or you just want to keep playing a massive game over and over, all the games over and over again, like Call of Duty, keep it. Oh, boy, you want to play one game? I'm just digressing here. I'm just going off key here. But someone tried to say consumers are buying games. They're still, but no, actually, no. I've got another video coming up covering this, but console sales are dropping. Console sales across the board are dropping. PC sales are going up. PC gaming is going up. Console sales and console gaming is dropping. It's on a decline. Not just Xbox, PlayStation and Nintendo as well. They're all 3 of them are declining. Nintendo not as much as Xbox and PlayStation, but they're all declining. PC is actually on the way up, especially Steam. People are moving on to Steam. You know why? Because people don't want to pay $70 for these games. They'd rather go to, because games are cheaper on Steam. And you can sell. Sony selling their games on Steam for maximum prices. Nobody's buying them. No one's going, wait, that drops in price. I'm not buying another band than Sony $70 for a game that came out 2 years ago. And it just looks like just a walkthrough simulator. No one's playing. People are not buying these games. This is exactly why PlayStation put their games on PC. Why do you think they're doing it? To make more money. They want to make more money. Why do they need to make more money? Because no one's buying the games. If people were buying the games, they wouldn't have to make this money, would they? They would have the money to hand because people would be buying the games. That's how it works. It's so simple. But no one's buying the games. And now we're seeing games go onto the Switch. They put their games on Switch now. What's that about? Money. People are not buying these games. Game sales are dropping. Right. So this is not from Alex's video. This is from, I had a look through his channel. And I think I might have dropped the ball here, Alex, on this one. This is something I found. Now, isn't it interesting how they defend and people will pay anything, do anything if the price is there, yada, yada, yada. But let's see what happens when Xbox raises prices, shall we? Let's go to the...
Phil Spencer recently comes out and says that Game Pass and console prices are, they could, I'm not going to say they are, but they could. And when he says this, he's not saying this because he's bored. Could. And we said this on Crossfire 3-4 weeks ago. You guys all know in the chat, you were here listening. We said Sony's doing it. Sony's doing it. They're not doing it because it's funny or because they want to make the extra. They're legitimately in other markets not making the dividends because the dollar is stronger here in the U.S. than it is in other markets. Now you hear Game Pass probably going to go up. Xbox Series X probably going to go up at some point in 2023. We said it here. I said it myself. I said it first right here. I said that the reason Microsoft didn't go up this holiday season is how could they? They've got nothing to offer. It's like, hi, we have no first-party games, and we'd like $55 more, please.
So, which then this is obviously from a previous podcast I had. So then it begs the question: Xbox didn't raise prices because they got nothing to offer, right? How could they? It'd be sort of cheeky of them to raise the prices of their console and stuff if they're not putting out any games. So how come now, in the recent podcast, they're defending it, defending PlayStation putting up the price of their console and that, even though they're literally not putting out games. Xbox is just churning out game after game, new IPs, games. They're putting Call of Duty onto Game Pass. Why now? Why is it okay when PlayStation does it, but not okay when Xbox does it? I mean, PlayStation are not putting, they're not putting out any games. So why are you defending it? Why are you saying it's okay? And why don't you care about prices and you'll pay anything? Consumers will pay anything. They'll pay anything. Game Pass raises prices. I won't do that. Why would they do that? They're not putting out anything. What is the argument here? I don't understand the flip-flop. Why can't you all just be consistent in your narratives? Let's have a carry on listening.
It's hard to do, but when you have PlayStation that has God of War Ragnarok coming out and the marketing rights to Call of Duty, it feels like lesser of a blow.
See, you've made it worse for yourself by PlayStation having the rights to Call of Duty, marketing rights to Call of Duty, because now they don't. Xbox does them. Xbox has the marketing rights to Call of Duty, and they actually have Call of Duty on Game Pass now. They actually own Call of Duty. So, in your own logic, PlayStation should not raise their prices at all. should not do it. So because they've not got Call of Duty, they've not got Game Pass, they've not got any games. So there is no argument why they're raising prices. Yet you're all here arguing that it's okay for PlayStation to raise prices. Why shouldn't they? You're absolutely contradicting yourself. Let's actually listen to what Persona has to say.
The age-old Game Pass conversation.
Oh, it doesn't go away, does it?
Right?
You guys keep bringing it up.
It's like a wart or something like that. I don't know.
It is like a wart.
But no, I mean, I think
money.
When it comes to Game Pass, I think it's kind of strange how I think a lot of people, well, not even people, a lot of people on Twitter are putting a lot of stock into casuals carrying the service.
Right.
When casuals don't really,
they're casual.
They're not. They're not looking to play 200 games. Yeah, I'm not trying to bash nobody.
I'm not bashing either. My majority of my friends are casual gamers. Period.
Yeah. It's not I don't think like this service is necessarily something that really is geared towards a casual. Maybe someone new that's getting into gaming, sure, but like brand new, don't have nothing and they want to save a couple dollars. But then I'm like, who goes out and spends $500, $300 to $500 on a console just to spend $15 a month in a service? Like that just doesn't make sense to me. That's like buying a Ferrari but catching a bus to work. Like who the fuck? Like no, I'm gonna try that Ferrari. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Like that stuff doesn't make sense to me. The way people on Twitter explain it. Now, obviously, I do think that Xbox has an audience and people that they're trying to capture, sure. But when it comes to the lack of content, Microsoft already has, I think, almost double or close to double the studios of PlayStation and Nintendo, but their consistency is not even, it's piss poor.
Mm-hmm.
And, I feel like
it was, now it's not. Now they're churning out far more games than PlayStation. They're dropping games left, right, and centre. I mean, they've got Oblivion now. It's just been announced. It's coming out this year. Coming out soon. I think next month, isn't it? So they're just churning out games at the moment. But they're not. We've not seen. I don't think we've seen any price hikes. I think Game Pass may have gone up by $5, but that's because all the games they just put Call of Duty in it. So why are we seeing price hikes by PlayStation? Please explain this then. Your arguments are contradicting each other. You've got, PlayStation, the Xbox shouldn't raise prices because they haven't got the content. But now we're seeing PlayStation with no content but still raising prices when Xbox had no content and didn't raise prices. They were gonna but didn't. So I'm not seeing. I can't see your argument. I can't see your narrative here. Why are you defending PlayStation? The bottom line is, why are you defending PlayStation? Why don't you all call PlayStation out on this? Like you do Xbox when they think about raising prices or anything. Why are you saying, they got no content, so how dare they raise prices? PlayStation's not putting out anything. It's not doing anything on for you. And this goes back to my earlier argument, is where companies, you're paying a company, and what's happened to profits? Where are these profits going? What, as a consumer, are you seeing from these profits? That's what you should be asking yourself. Stop worrying about the console you don't play or don't buy on. Be concerned with what the console you are on, your major console, the console of your choice, the console you've just paid $500 for, the console you just paid $800 for if it's a PS5 Pro. Why are you not concerned that you're paying these prices and the prices are going up, but you're still not seeing the content? You're not seeing the profits from all this go anywhere. Why are you not concerned by that? That in itself is concerning. Let's have a continue listening here.
That's something that it seriously needs to be looked at and worked on before we start talking about the success of a service, because that success of the service is 100% dependent on the consistency and high quality of the content that you're putting into there.
Where's the consistency
and I think when we're looking at the Call of Duties and things like that, Call of Duty absolutely has its audience, and I'm pretty sure if this deal goes through and Call of Duty goes into Game Pass, they're definitely going to skyrocket in terms of those numbers. But that's still a finite number. No, if you put COD in,
console sales are a finite number. It's a finite number. Game sales is a finite number. Nothing's an infinite number. I don't know that's a finite number. Yeah, what isn't? What do you think in PlayStation is going to sell 10 billion consoles? What a stupid point to make. But let's just carry on listening.
To there, and it jumps up 5 million. That's still nowhere near Disney Plus and Netflix numbers.
Why is he comparing Game Pass to Disney Plus and Netflix? Why is he comparing a game service which has got lots of a competition against Netflix and Disney? I don't understand. I don't know why he's comparing the two. They're not even comparable. I mean, firstly, Netflix and Disney, you can't buy the shows. You can't buy the shows from it's a subscription service, nothing more. You pay, you watch the shows, that's it. You don't get to keep the shows. It's the shows. If you stop paying the subscription, you lose the shows. Just like Game Pass, which there doesn't seem to be any complaint. They keep complaining about sort of Game Pass, it's renting service, but he's quite happy to pay for Netflix and Disney. Weird. You don't keep the shows, you lose it all, lost all that. And you don't own, you can't buy the shows, you can't rent Netflix. Can I have this show, please? No, it's not like a service. Xbox does. Game Pass, you can literally buy the games off of Game Pass, or you just buy them from shops. You can literally buy the games as well. What else you got to say?
Right.
You still need to have other things outside of that. So if you're dependent on that and trying to grow it through that's not enough.
Right. Okay. Let's go on to the final one. This is brilliant. This is you're gonna love this bit. And it's actually, he replies to an Oh No Alex super chat here. But this really just goes to show how they contradict themselves. Earlier on, where they will pay anything to PlayStation, anything, $100, anything, they'll just give money. Just take my money, PlayStation, take it. I'm a consumer, nothing more. I'm absolutely brain dead. But this one, you're gonna love this.
And shout out to Alex. Shout out to Oh No, it's Alex. Appreciate him being here in the chat. He says, what Microsoft spends to acquire studios isn't a gamer's concern. Microsoft's responsibility is to provide content. That's 100% true. Offloading their costs onto the customer is something we shouldn't accept. And, I think Alex, if I'm misreading what you're saying, the reason I agree with that.
What, you agree with Alex? You agree with Alex that they shouldn't be offsetting the prices to the customers? Xbox shouldn't be doing that. You agree with him? But when PlayStation does it, you will give PlayStation any amount of money they want. $100 games, yeah, I'll pay it. Yeah. I don't care about offsetting. But when Xbox does it, it's all right. Let's go back to that, shall we? There we go.
Offloading their costs onto the customer is something we shouldn't accept. And, I think Alex, if I'm misreading what you're saying, the reason I agree with that.
If anyone didn't hear it at the back, here we go, guys. One last time.
100% true. Offloading their costs onto the customer is something we shouldn't accept. And, I think Alex, if I'm misreading what you're saying, the reason I agree with that is that.
So there we go. There we have it. So we've clearly got a PlayStation fan base that have just got a hate boner for Xbox. Whatever Xbox does, bad. Whatever PlayStation does, good. I'm not sure as a consumer why you're happy to pay $100 for a game the PlayStation releases. Because, why not? Inflation, whatever you want to, whatever argument you use. Inflation, games cost more. We want more games. We want better games. They're great people. They deserve it. Their families, I'm concerned about their families and their welfare. But when Xbox wants to raise prices on a subscription service, the content's not there. Consumers should be fitting the costs for the stuff, and it's absolute bollocks. Absolute bollocks. Absolute twisted narratives, and it's all just it's just one big pile of shit. Really, isn't it? I don't know what else I can say other than drinking some more sake. But anyway, I think I'm going to end it there because I could go through just this nonsense all day long. I've got another video coming covering about Steam going to Xbox, and I'm going to cover sort of console sales and things like that, more to the point there. Please check out my channel. Please subscribe and share. I'm hoping to get to 1,000 by the end of this year. I've got loads of new content. I've got gameplay. I've got Baldur's Gate streaming, live streaming. I'm getting back into gaming with my friend Blue Baron. I'm helping set up his channel as well. And we're going to do some more PvP. We're going to do more PvP on Conan, Hunt Showdown. But the June game coming out, we're getting that because we're big PvPers and MMOers. And we're going to be playing June PvP, and we're going to be live streaming it and doing gameplay of that. And also my movie reactions, please check out those when they drop out. I'm going to start doing those again. I was just getting some things set up here, and I had some problems, some copyright issues. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share. And I hope you enjoy the content. Please post any issues or anything you like or anything you dislike about the channel. Other than the mic, I know it's a problem. I'm going to get it sorted, hopefully. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and goodbye for now.